whether or not they were receiving Medicaid. Half of them raised their hand and volunteered that they were on Medicaid. Just volunteered that. These are the ones who are hired, right? They also asked the aliens how they pay their medical bills, and they said that if they don't have Medicaid, they go to hospitals, they get free care there, and they bill it to the taxpayers. So they aren't paying for any of their own health care in this country. This is one example. And we've seen this over and over and over again. So under President Trump's leadership, and then of course with JD and the head of the FCC, Andrew Ferguson, we're going to see the first ever effort in American history to reclaim the ultimately trillions of dollars that are still on the taxpayers. And I believe, and I know President Trump believes, that when this theft is exposed, we will see that if all of it were stopped, it will be enough to balance the budget. The extraction of wealth from American taxpayers to people who don't belong here is the primary cause of the national debt, and this is the first ever effort to shut that down. Thank you, Mr. President.
Everyone else has been cheating for years. It's the first ever.
You know, for anybody out there thinking this is all fake, please listen to this, just in case you didn't know.
Well, prosecutors have filed charges against 6 people today who they accuse of defrauding child nutrition, autism, and housing stability programs.
But their fraud investigations also extended to a new Medicaid program here in Minnesota today. Fox 9's Corin Hawkins is live at the federal courthouse in Minneapolis. Corin, prosecutors sort of put a number on the amount of fraud, and it was shocking.
Yeah, right, hey, Kelsey. Investigators are typically shy about making estimates here, but the number getting floated out there today was $9 billion. They have charged 92 people in these 3 programs, and now the investigation is extending into new programs as well. FBI agents carried out boxes of files from Ultimate Home Health Services in Bloomington Thursday morning. The state suspended its license this month after discovering alleged fraud in its Integrated Community Supports Program, or ICS. The door is broken there, and federal prosecutors say Minnesota's entire...
Tom Connors here. How can I help you, sir?
What we see in Minnesota is not a handful of bad actors committing crimes. It's a staggering industrial scale.
Of course. May I ask where to?
6 people with fraud Thursday, but none yet in ICS. They say Minnesota did a bad job of creating guardrails.
Excellent. It's on its way.
Even by people from out of state. For the first time, they charged 2 men accused of fraud tourism. Coming from Philadelphia, setting up shell businesses, then billing Minnesota from back home. In all, the state has declared 14 programs as high risk, and those programs have cost $18 billion since 2018. When I look at the claims data and the providers, I see more red flags than I see legitimate providers. And overwhelmingly so. Well, they've actually clawed some of it back. Important to note, they say there is no evidence that any of the people they've charged with fraud have been radicalized, and no money has gone to any terrorist organizations. Live in Minneapolis, Corin Hawkins, Fox 9.
Hello there. All right, thank you, Corin.
Okay, now that was a Fox News report. This is Democrat CBS News. Listen to this.
Minnesota is reeling from a fraud scandal involving $1 billion siphoned from multiple federal programs during the COVID pandemic. In the past 3 years, 87 people have been charged, 61 convicted, most of Somali descent. Erica McDonald was U.S.
Yo,
Attorney
what
for
you
the
need?
District of Minnesota during the first Trump administration.
Yeah, player. We'll get it to you.
Where fraud was able to run rampant, that it didn't in other states.
Democrats.
Lack of accountability, frankly. We knew that fraud occurs, and there's warning signs that come with it, and they were ignored in this case.
According to investigators, the schemes involved bogus receipts and invoices for meal programs, housing assistance, and behavioral health services, charging the state millions for services that were never provided.
I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars.
The president lashed out at Minnesota's Somali community during Tuesday's cabinet meeting at the White House.
I think it's a beautiful country.
Jamal Osman, who moved from Somalia to Minnesota when he was 14, is a naturalized U.S. citizen and a member of the Minneapolis City Council.
Anyone who looks like me are scared right now.
The fear comes as the Somali community here is bracing for a surge of ICE agents cracking down on migrants who have issued final deportation orders.
The president is pointing to the fraud cases in Minnesota, and we know that
a majority of the suspects are of Somali descent. How is your community taking that?
Well, my community is upset. Yes, people commit crimes, but the entire community cannot be blamed based on what some individuals did.
Some House Republicans on an oversight committee in Washington announcing in a news release they're launching their own investigation into the allegations of fraud and accusations that some of that money could have been funneled directly to terror groups overseas. But I spoke with a number of federal investigators and they tell me there is no evidence that that happened. Instead, the fraudsters allegedly stole the money and kept it for themselves and spent it on things like cars, houses, diamonds, and so much more.
That is just amazing. And of course, just in case you didn't know, people were called racist for trying to expose all this fraud. Governor's representative deals for this exchange with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Would you agree that a single taxpayer dollar wasted on fraud is a dollar too much to tolerate? And ultimately, you're responsible if tax dollars are defrauded.
Yes, I would agree.
Would you also agree that calling somebody racist is a serious accusation?
If they are racist, I think it's
I'm
very
asking
accurate.
you, is that a serious accusation to make about somebody?
I think it's just an observation of reality.
All right, well, let's go there. Is it racist for a government official to identify fraud?
No.
No. Is it Islamophobic
To identify fraud?
to identify fraud?
No, I don't believe it would be.
How come multiple whistleblowers have said that your administration told them not to say anything about widespread fraud across multiple agencies because doing so would be considered racist or Islamophobic?
I can't speak to it because it's not anything I would say.
Well, that's what your administration has said and has told whistleblowers, and as you just testified, the buck stops with you. That's what you stated in your statement whenever you announced you weren't running again. Are you familiar with Faye Bernstein?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name.
She's a Democrat, isn't she?
I wouldn't know that.
She stated publicly that she's a Democrat. She's only voted Democrat in her life. She's also stated publicly that she was retaliated against and called racist, and that her work responsibilities were diminished whenever she was highlighting fraud within your administration. Are you familiar with that?
I couldn't speak to
Why do you think she would?
allegation.
Why do you think she would say that?
Just
I
caught
can't
one of the
speak
flyest
to it.
You have no
spots in
idea?
San Andreas.
I do not.
You would agree that the tone in your administration comes from you ultimately, right?
The tone is that.
The tone of how you might deal with whistleblowers.
Right, and protect them.
It doesn't sound like you're protecting them. We heard from Representative Kristen Robbins, quote, we have dozens of credible whistleblower reports saying the exact same thing, that people were told not to say anything because they'd be called racist or Islamophobic, or it would hurt the state. You think it's racist or Islamophobic to highlight and try to stop fraud?
It is not. I certainly.
It's not, but that was the message your administration was sending to multiple whistleblowers.
I can't speak to that.
You can't speak to that. You don't want to speak to that, I think.
I have over 40
Hey, yo,
He's the governor.
I think it's somebody had
should
to
be
do it.
retaliated against.
Absolutely not. They have strong protections in Minnesota and lots of paths. And the paths go
That's not what
beyond
we're hearing from
Amanda.
whistleblowers. Faye Bernstein, who again has stated that she's a Democrat, she's only ever voted Democrat.
We live on the same
So
side
that
of
doesn't
town, we
matter.
should just stop
She's going to
by.
face a smear campaign trying to make leadership aware of illegal contracting practices. Why do you think that happened?
Oh, honey, you know her.
I can't speak
She's
to that,
always trying to
Congressman,
get her
because we
work
don't
into one
do
of
it.
your
You just
films.
don't know anything.
I do know
Oh
that,
my gosh,
that
look
we
at
have
this
strong whistleblower protections, and I can't say
That's not what the whistleblowers are
You
saying.
don't mind, do you? I saw a
According to
tour of
another
this in
report,
Ideal
quote, there's
Living
just a
magazine.
continuous effort
I'm
to
just
stifle
dying
you,
to
to
have a
shut
look
you up,
around.
and it's impossible to
Now,
overcome.
this is
Your
class.
administration's response to whistleblowers has also been
Our
described as,
diamond
quote,
chairs are by the same
nearly
designer, aren't
unbearable
they, Michael?
retaliation.
I don't know.
We've heard claims that, quote, they've been denied
ignore
vacations,
him.
promotions, and that it's hurt people's
it's a
careers to
cigar,
speak out against fraud. Do you think that that had
You should
something to
have a
do with
cigar
the
room.
prevalence of
Now
fraud
that
in your
I could really get
administration?
behind.
In
I
our
can't
house,
speak
the
to it, but
living
there
Are you
is
room
going to
is
take
our
responsibility for
Hey,
this?
honey.
I certainly, I
Did you
supervise
see
40,000
countertops
employees,
in the
state
kitchen?
agencies.
You supervise a lot of
Oh my
employees,
God.
and
They are
as
not
you've said,
honest.
the buck stops with
Oh
you,
my
and your administration has
God.
treated whistleblowers like absolute
You've been
dirt, and that's a
flying
big
under the radar,
reason
pal.
why
Till all
we've seen
this.
so much of our hard-earned
But we
tax
were all the
dollars
same friends,
defrauded.
you and me.
There's,
Diamond
look,
Casino,
Congressman, I told
that
you we
was
have
you, right?
strong protections. We have an office
This
of
committee has
legislation.
audited nearly
necessarily my
30
business, but
whistleblowers
And they
Those
came
which are current employees in your administration who have intimate knowledge of what's been going on,
Stay in touch, yeah?
who have all stated that they faced retaliation for calling out fraud.
Of course we are.
I can't speak to them what they tell.
And how does that feel, Dad?
It's been a minute since I've been in this place. Huh?
Thank God Kamala Harris
I gotta tell
lost
you,
the
though,
election.
you got a lot better
Thank
taste
God
than the
this
asshole
man
used to be
Wolf
here.
is not our vice president. Ignoring
I'm sorry, I didn't know you already had guests.
Thank God. Thank fucking God.
Forgive the
Thank
intrusion.
common fucking
I
sense.
had a stake in the development of these places, just checking to see if everything
I think
is
this
in
been part of
order.
the movie. I laugh.
Wonderful pool you
Because
have here.
this motherfucker
I
would
just
have
had
to
to
be a
see
bad
who made the
motherfucker
purchase.
to be in my motherfucking house,
Mr.
in my
DeSantis.
motherfucking
This
swimming
is
pool,
an
or
unexpected
in my motherfucking house,
pleasure.
or in my
Truly,
motherfucking shower.
I am Mr.
We not kill
Philip.
him.
Perhaps you have heard my name.
Yeah, I heard
He
it.
died for cheap
Banking,
people.
right?
Yes, indeed. Your last picture, that was a success. I have always admired
war.
your work.
Yeah, somehow I doubt
War
that.
would be
Oh,
too.
you are too modest. And I didn't know the two
Not
of you were
in my
associates.
motherfucking house,
No, just met.
taking a bath,
Perhaps the
in
three of
my
us
motherfucking pool,
can work together.
or
Now
touching
that
me
would be
while
a
you
dream
ain't
team,
bathing suit.
as they say. And you must be
Some
Mrs.
people call it Clement
DeSantis.
Trump.
Another pleasure. Now, do excuse me. I am in Los Santos to hear a Series C pitch. Driverless taxis. You've probably seen them around. Meantime, if you should need anything at all, my people are everywhere.
Well, you got his attention. You want my advice? Watch yourself with that guy. With assholes like that, it's all smiles and hand jobs. Till it ain't.
Michael, come on. The sun deck.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is so nice. Michael and I are empty nesters now with too much time on our hands. And our son is finally moving away from home.
Here. You know, this is a nice neighborhood. I think you're gonna fit right in. You have any problems, let me know, right? All right. Come on, sweetheart. Let's give our new friend here a little time to unpack.
Enjoy your new home.